11:51 p.m., Tuesday. My phone lights up. Mom Carol texts, "We voted. You're no longer part of this family." A beat later, my sister Madison hearts it like she's liking a beach pic, not erasing a daughter. I don't cry. I calcify. I type, "Thanks for the confirmation. I'm shutting off every autopay." Send. 12 minutes of corpse-cold silence. You ever feel a knife press without breaking skin? That was my chest. The people I kept afloat just tossed me overboard by text. Then the group chat detonates. Don't touch anything. Undo this. You're insane. And I'm standing there thinking, oh, so love had a billing cycle? If it were you, right here, right now, what would you do? Tell me in the comments. Hit like, subscribe so this doesn't get buried under their lies. Because sometimes justice starts with one brutal click. Off. I'm going to say this like I'd say it to a friend at 2 a.m. I didn't become cold. I became done. For years, I was the quiet wallet behind my family's warm speeches. Power, water, gas moved into my name the same week my dad said, "Honey, you're the responsible one." Property taxes? I paid them in full, twice, while my own rent was hanging by a thread. Car insurance? I added their car to my policy after theirs lapsed twice because Mom cried that the phone calls made her shake. And when my sister Madison chose a private college with a champagne price tag, I wrote checks like I was printing forgiveness. 18 grand a year for 3 years. When I finally said I could only help with half a semester, $6,800, she hung up without a thank you. Just click. Like I was a receptionist, not her sister. You ever hold your breath so long you forget what breathing feels like? That was me in my 20s, smiling at birthdays, sliding my card under the table, telling myself this is what love looks like when you're the strong one. But love shouldn't feel like quicksand. And then came the text, "We voted. You're no longer part of this family." From Mom Carol at 11:51 p.m. Tuesday. 1 minute later, Madison hearts it like she's tapping a vacation reel. I didn't cry. I calcified. And here's the twist. That message didn't break me, it gave me permission. I typed, "Thanks for the confirmation. I'm shutting off every autopay." Send. 12 minutes of corpse-cold silence. Ever feel a blade rest on your skin but not press down? That was my chest. Then the group chat detonated. Dad, don't touch anything. Mom, undo this before you ruin us. Madison, you're insane. I put the phone face down and walked to the window. The city was quiet in that way where every sound feels secret. My boyfriend, Ethan's steady heartbeat of a human being, was asleep on the couch. One arm over his eyes like the world could rest too. He doesn't snore, he trusts. I wanted that. I opened my laptop. Passwords moved through my fingers like muscle memory. Electric, transferred back under my control. Water, click. Gas, click. Wi-Fi and family phone plan, click, click. Insurance, off my policy. County portal for taxes took longer, but I filed a notice that I would no longer pay on a property I don't live in. The gas card I used to refill their tank, disabled. No manifesto, no subtweet. Just quiet switches from on to off. Justice can be as small as a checkbox. Then I did the thing that changed everything. I started a ledger. Date, payee, amount, reason, receipt link. I dug through dusty emails with subject lines like help, renewal, just this month. Bank confirmations, screenshots, statements. I watched the total crawl and climb and then leap. 10K, 40K, 80K. Finally, $134,000. Do you know what it's like to see the price of your silence in black and white? It's like staring at a hot piece of metal and realizing the burn is yours. I drafted an email, subject, final notice. Outstanding balances, calm, professional, surgical. I itemized everything: utilities, taxes, insurance, tuition, groceries, even streaming services they were running on my account while calling me selfish. Last line read like a new spinal cord. This is not a request. You have 30 days to initiate a repayment plan before legal action. I CC'd Julia, my friend who happens to be a family law attorney and a patron saint for women who stayed too long at the guilt buffet. Her reply came fast. "Send it. I'll take it from here." I sent it. The phone rang instantly, Madison. Decline. A text. "What is wrong with you?" I didn't reply. Because here's the part that'll make some of you mad. I used to think love was the ability to pay quickly and forgive quietly. Turns out love is also saying no. So loud the lies can't breathe. If you've ever paid a debt with your sanity, you know this feeling. If you've been here, if you are here, tell me in the comments. What would you do if the people you've saved vote to erase you? You can rage, you can cry, you can also document. I picked door number 3. Tap like if you've ever been the strong one people kept spending. Share this if someone you love needs permission to stop being the family ATM. Because the night they voted me out, I finally voted for myself. And that's the night the story stopped being about shame and started being about proof. By morning, my inbox looked like an alarm panel. 31 missed calls, voicemail full, emails with subject lines that sounded like sirens. Urgent family matter, be reasonable, we can fix this privately. Translation, put the mask back on, sweetheart. The group chat kept swinging between rage and guilt like a broken metronome. Dad tried the reasonable voice. Mom went for public shaming. She posted on Facebook, "Some people forget who raised them and turn into monsters when they have money." She tagged me. Aunt Deb jumped in. "Disgusting behavior, I'd be ashamed." I didn't answer. Not there. Because when a house is on fire, you don't argue with the flames, you open the hydrant. And then something unexpected happened. My DMs filled with quiet relatives, cousins I barely knew, an uncle I hadn't heard from in years. They borrowed from us, never paid. I went no contact when they asked me to co-sign Madison's loan. You're not crazy. Every confession was a pebble dropped into the same pond, ripples of truth. It didn't make the betrayal smaller, it made it undeniable. There's a special kind of fury that rises when you realize the story about you, the cold daughter, the ungrateful sister, was a cover for a pattern. Julia took over communications. "All further contact goes through me," she wrote, crisp as a scalpel. "Any direct outreach will be considered harassment." It felt like a seatbelt snapping into place. I forwarded everything, texts, voicemails, screenshots, Madison's burner DMs. "You'll die alone like you deserve." Yep, that happened. Evidence, not drama. Because this wasn't family therapy. It was a record. Meanwhile, Ethan did what good men do. He didn't perform heroics. He made space. A glass of water would slide next to my laptop. A hand on my shoulder when my breath got shallow. "Cold is the right temperature for truth," he said once. I kept that line like a smooth stone in my pocket. Then, boom, the probate call. A woman from a New York office. "We're finalizing your grandmother Eleanor's small trust. It was initially split between you and Madison. Your name appears to have been crossed out and replaced. The signature doesn't match prior documents." 4 years ago. The same year my parents remodeled their kitchen with marble and a caption that read, "Hard work pays off." My stomach went hollow. There it was, the tile that didn't line up. "Please send the verification packet," I said. My voice sounded like someone else's, steady and very far away. When I hung up, I stared at the wall and understood. It wasn't just money, it was forgery. It was my name. Julia's tone changed from calm to surgical. "We're adding inheritance fraud and forgery. We'll file to freeze assets pending investigation." She moved like a storm with a plan. Within 48 hours, accounts were frozen. Emails shifted. "Dad." I had no idea. "Mom." "Misunderstanding. You always said you didn't want anything." That line made me laugh out loud, a tired, feral sound. I forwarded both to Julia. Meanwhile, a quiet Aunt Meredith replied, "All to Mom's family blast. You mean the mistake where you stole her inheritance?" The thread went silent in that heavy way where everyone is reading and no one is breathing. Then the receipts started rolling in from cousins, from uncles. Screenshots of my parents asking for temporary help that never went back. This is the part that might shock you more than the text eviction. Truth doesn't always roar. Sometimes it files paperwork. Sometimes it stamps a seal and says, "Received." When the probate office confirmed the signature mismatch, Julia expanded the case. Recovery plus damages. And I, woman who used to shake while paying other people's bills, stopped shaking. My hands were busy turning life into a folder. "You're destroying us," Mom wrote. "No," I typed and didn't send. I forwarded it instead. They tried one last pivot. "Let's settle privately. No court. No embarrassment." As if embarrassment was the crime here. You know what the crime was? Crossing out your daughter's name to fund a kitchen and calling it family. Cruel? No, accurate. Write that down. If your stomach is burning right now, you're not alone. If this were you, right here, probate calling, family thread melting, lies unraveling, what would you do? Tell me below. Hit like if you've ever had to pick truth over peace. Share this if you know someone living under a "be a good daughter" tax. Because the day I learned my signature had been replaced, I stopped writing apologies and started filing motions. And for the first time, the story wasn't about me. It was for me. 3. Terms on paper, exits signed, and the quiet kind of freedom, 700 words. By the next Monday, we weren't talking it out. We were drafting terms. Julia's repayment agreement read like a spine stitched straight. Total $134,000, paid within 12 months. Interest on delays. 2 missed payments trigger immediate legal escalation. No direct contact from Madison, only through counsel. No future financial requests, period. "You sure?" Julia asked. "They'll call you cruel?" I nodded. "They've been paying with my kindness for years. Let them try money." We sent the PDF clean, firm, almost elegant in its lack of drama. My parents signed. I printed the pages and ran my fingers over the inked signatures. Do you know the sound of freedom? It's a laser printer warming up. The first transfer arrived a week later, $3,800. Julia emailed, "Transfer received." It wasn't an apology, it was an admission in numbers. Fear can be a fine motivator. So can a frozen account and a cousin thread full of receipts. I sold the house that had been in my name, the same house I'd been paying taxes on while being called ungrateful. Walking through it one last time, I noticed the pale rectangle where the family portrait used to hang. Artificial smiles, marble counters that glinted like an alibi. It didn't feel like victory, just stillness. I left the keys in an envelope for Julia record keeping, not nostalgia. Ethan met me outside. "You didn't keep a key?" he asked. I shook my head. "That place was never home, it was collateral." He squeezed my hand. "Then it's over." Not over, I thought. Settled. There's a difference. Month by month, the balance dropped. No fireworks, no screaming calls at midnight, just scheduled transfers and calendar reminders. The probate case moved too slow, precise, exacting. The court reversed the forged change, $40,000 restored plus damages. When Julia forwarded the confirmation, I printed it and pinned it on my fridge like a medal nobody gets to clap for but me. Mom sent a last-ditch email. "We forgive you. Please forgive us." I didn't reply. I forwarded it to counsel. I wasn't unkind. I was uninterested. There's a difference most people never learn. Some relatives who used to ghost my messages wrote long paragraphs now, how proud they were, how they always knew I was strong. I didn't bite the bait of retroactive loyalty. You don't need a parade to leave a burning building. Madison tried one more time. "You won. Are you happy now?" I typed back, "No one wins when family becomes debt." Then I muted her number. We moved Ethan and I into a small downtown apartment with big light. No marble, just breathable air. Some mornings I'd open the old spreadsheet, the one where I'd counted the cost of my silence and stare at the empty cells. The cursor would blink like a pulse. Delete. Not out of rage, out of release. "Does it hurt?" Ethan asked once, leaning in the doorway. "Less than it used to," I said. "Feels like reading someone else's medical chart." He laughed. "That's romantic in your world." "Free and unblocked," I said, and we clinked mugs like grown-ups who finally get a Saturday back. Julia's updates turned into single sentences. "On schedule." "Appeal denied." "Case closed." No fanfare, just ending signed in ink. The final payment arrived and nothing exploded. My phone didn't ring. The sky didn't change color. I walked to the window, saw the same city where I'd once cried in parking lots after paying bills that weren't mine, and realized it looked different because I was different. I wasn't the backup plan, the emergency contact, the line of credit with a heartbeat. I was just me, a woman with boundaries and a balance sheet that finally made sense. Here's the thing about freedom nobody advertises. It's quiet. It shows up as sleep that doesn't break at 3:17 a.m. It tastes like coffee that isn't laced with guilt. It sounds like a calendar that belongs to you. And it lives in sentences like, "Please direct all communication to my attorney." You might think that's cold. I think it's adult. So if you're still watching, if your chest is tight and your hands are a little shaky, this is the part where I look straight at you. If it were you texted out of your own family, invoices stacked like bricks on your back, a signature crossed out on a trust meant for you, what would you do? Tell me below. Hit like if you've ever paid with your peace. Share this if someone you love needs proof that saying no is not cruelty, it is CPR. Subscribe if you want more than a story, if you want the steps, the templates, the language that turned my chaos into closure. Because here's my final shock line, the one that still cracks the room. They said, I destroyed the family. All I did was turn on the light. And when the lights came up, I finally saw what I'd been holding. A switch with my name on it. I flipped it. And the only thing that went dark was the lie. Here's where I land, and I'm saying it the way I'd tell a friend over late-night coffee. The case is closed. The payments are done. The probate judge reversed the forged change on my grandmother Eleanor's trust. No balloons, no parade, just a quiet inbox and a bank app that doesn't make my stomach drop. I thought closure would feel like fireworks. It feels like a soft light left on in a safe room. People keep asking if I feel guilty. Honestly, I feel steady. Not vindictive, not triumphant. Steady. I did the unglamorous work spreadsheets, receipts, boundaries, signatures. I learned that family without accountability is just a subscription you forgot to cancel. And I finally canceled it. Do I miss them? Some days I miss the idea of them. I miss the fantasy that love and sacrifice were the same word. But love isn't a tab you keep open forever. It's consent. It's clarity. It's, I won't fund the story that hurts me. Ethan and I moved into a tiny place with big light. Mornings are quiet in the best way coffee that doesn't taste like guilt. Emails that don't read like emergencies. A calendar that actually belongs to me. I still catch myself holding my breath at 11:51 p.m., waiting for a crisis to ping through. It doesn't. That silence used to scare me. Now it sounds like healing. Here's the question I keep circling, and I want you to answer it honestly. Am I in the wrong? Not the version my mom Carol posted about, not the one Madison DM'd at 2 a.m., the real one. A daughter who said yes until her no finally counted. If you think I crossed a line, tell me where. If you've stood where I stood, tell me what helped you step forward. What did I learn? That documentation is a love language to yourself. That please direct all communication to my attorney is not cruel, it's adult. That you can forgive in your heart and still require repayment on paper. And that piece is sometimes a ledger closing with zeros across the board. If this resonated, drop your take in the comments. If someone you love is drowning under be a good child debt, share this with them. Maybe it becomes their permission slip. Tap like if you believe boundaries can coexist with love. Subscribe if you want the templates, the scripts, the exact emails I use, because I don't just want a story, I want you to have tools. They said I broke the family. Maybe I broke the spell. And if that's wrong, then tell me. I'm listening.